Crisis warning. Formula One could soon face a decision that sounds almost unbelievable. To avoid expensive chassis redesigns, teams are now discussing the possibility of shortening some races in 2027. What started as a technical adjustment has quickly become a battle involving money, regulations, manufacturers, and the future direction of the sport. The controversy comes from the proposed engine changes planned for 2027. After the Miami Grand Prix, an agreement in principle was announced to shift the power balance toward a 60-40 split in favor of the combustion engine. That would require more fuel, more power, and ultimately a larger fuel tank. On paper, it sounds simple. In reality, it could force teams to redesign major parts of their cars. And that is where the situation becomes serious. The biggest problem is timing. Teams are already defining the foundations of their 2027 chassis projects. Once those decisions are locked in, changing the architecture later becomes extremely difficult and expensive. Several teams had planned to continue using their existing chassis designs into next season as a way to control costs. A larger fuel tank could destroy those plans overnight. That's the real issue. As discussions intensified, two possible solutions emerged. The first would be granting financial exemptions so teams could redesign their cars without those costs counting toward the budget cap. However, not everyone is convinced. Smaller teams would still need to spend real money even if it sat outside the cap. Haas team principal Ayao Komatsu pushed back strongly, saying he does not want the budget cap constantly increased through new exceptions and added costs. That led to a second and far more surprising proposal. Instead of redesigning cars, some races could simply be shortened by 1 or 2 laps. By reducing race distance only where necessary, teams could complete events without needing larger fuel tanks. Racing Bulls team principal Alan Perman confirmed that team bosses have already reached an agreement in principle on this idea. He explained that certain races could be adjusted if teams keeping their current chassis could not safely cover the full 310-kilometer distance. This changes everything. What makes the story even more complicated is that fuel consumption before the race is also under discussion. Teams are considering limiting drivers to just 1 lap before lining up on the grid, similar to sprint race procedures. Currently, drivers can complete additional laps to test conditions, perform practice starts, and make final setup checks. Eliminating those extra laps would save fuel and reduce pressure on tank capacity, creating another possible compromise. But while team bosses seem closer to agreement on race distance and fuel management, the engine manufacturers remain divided. Mercedes and Red Bull support the proposed changes, while other manufacturers continue debating the timing, development costs, and competitive implications. Every delay increases uncertainty. Every disagreement pushes the negotiations further into dangerous territory. Formula One now finds itself at a crossroads. The sport wants more powerful engines and better racing, but achieving that goal may require rewriting long-standing traditions, including the very distance of some Grand Prix. Whether the teams, manufacturers, and FIA can find common ground remains unclear. And if they fail, the entire 2027 project could face major delays. And it may not stop here. What's your take on this situation? Share your opinion below and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Formula One updates.